Episode 1 opens with Gi-hun, a struggling divorced father who lives with his elderly mother. On his daughter Ga-young's birthday, his mother gives him 20,000 won, about $17, to buy dinner and a present. Claiming this isn't enough even for chicken, Gi-hun convinces his mother to give him more money. After she leaves for work, he takes her bank card to get money for gambling at the horse races. At the races, Gi-hun wins big but encounters loan sharks he owes money to. While running away, a pickpocket steals his winnings. The loan sharks catch up and force him to sign a contract with his blood stating they'll take his organs if he doesn't pay by next month. That evening, Gi-hun takes his daughter for street food with his remaining money. He wins her a toy gun lighter from a claw machine. Despite her saying she prefers this simple meal, Gi-hun feels bad he can't provide like her stepfather, who recently treated her to an expensive steak dinner. At the train station, Gi-hun meets a mysterious businessman who challenges him to a game called Dakji, where players try to flip over the opponent's paper card. The prize is 100,000 won per round, but since Gi-hun has no money, he agrees to be slapped when he loses. After many attempts and slaps, Gi-hun finally wins. The man gives him a business card with a phone number, offering a chance to play similar games for bigger prizes. The next day, Gi-hun learns his ex-wife's new husband got a job in America, meaning they'll move with his daughter in a few months. His mother suggests that with more money, he could fight for shared custody. Desperate, Gi-hun calls the number. He's picked up in a van, where he and other passengers are knocked out with gas. Gi-hun wakes up in a large room with bunk beds, wearing a green tracksuit marked 456. He's surrounded by 455 other people in similar suits with different numbers. Guards in pink jumpsuits and masks explain they're all here to play games for cash prizes. When someone complains about being drugged, the guards reveal everyone present is deeply in debt and signed away their physical rights. The players are given another contract. They can leave if the majority votes to end the game, but they'll receive no money. Everyone signs. Gi-hun meets several other players. Player 001, an elderly man with a brain tumor. Player 101, a violent gangster named Deok-soo. Player 067, the same pickpocket who stole his winnings. And surprisingly, his childhood friend Sang-woo. Player 218, a successful business graduate who was thought to be wealthy. The first game is announced. Red light, green light. A giant mechanical doll explains the rules. Players must cross the field while the doll sings, but freeze when it turns around. Anyone caught moving is eliminated. They have 5 minutes to reach the finish line. Two players, 324 and 250, make a friendly bet about who'll finish first. As the game begins, 324 runs ahead but gets caught moving. A gunshot rings out, and he falls, bleeding. Player 250, thinking his friend is acting, runs to check on him but sees blood coming from his mouth. Realizing the horrible truth, 250 panics and tries to run away, only to be shot as well. Mass panic erupts as players realize elimination means death. Many try to flee but are gunned down by hidden turrets when caught moving. While Fly Me to the Moon plays over speakers, the remaining players must carefully advance. The old man seems oddly cheerful, while others like Gi-hun, the pickpocket, Deok-soo, and Sang-woo cautiously continue. As time runs out, Gi-hun nearly falls when the doll turns. Player 199, a foreign worker, helps steady him, and they both make it across just in time. Those who don't reach the finish line are shot. The survivors now understand this isn't an ordinary game, it's a fight for survival. Episode 2 opens with the 201 survivors from the first game in panic, begging the guards to let them go home. The guards remind them that they signed contracts and show them the third rule. If most players vote to end the games, everyone can leave. To tempt them, the guards lower a giant glass piggy bank from the ceiling, filling it with money worth 45.6 billion won. Explaining each player is worth 100 million won. The guards set up a voting system with 2 buttons, a circle to continue and an X to leave. Gi-hun votes to leave first, and many follow. The vote stays close until player 001, the old man, breaks a 100-100 tie by choosing to end the games. Everyone is then returned to their homes with an offer. If most want to return, the games will restart. Back in the real world, Gi-hun goes to the police, but they don't believe his story about the deadly games. The business card he shows them leads to wrong numbers. Only Detective Jun-ho seems interested, as his brother went missing after a similar story. While looking for his mother, Gi-hun meets Sang-woo, who reveals he owes 6 billion won from bad business deals and used his mother's store as collateral. Gi-hun then learns his mother has severe diabetes, but she refuses treatment. She reminds him that he cancelled their health insurance and used their savings for gambling, leaving them unable to afford her care. Feeling guilty, Gi-hun promises to fix things. Meanwhile, Se-byeok, the pickpocket, visits her little brother Chul at a children's home. He's unhappy about being bullied there. She promises to get him out and bring their mother from North Korea. Later, she discovers the person she paid to help their mother has disappeared with her money. Ali, the foreign worker, player 199, confronts his boss about 6 months of unpaid wages. When his boss lies about having no money while hiding cash, they fight. The boss's hand gets hurt in machinery, and Ali takes the money and runs. He tells his wife to return to Pakistan with her child, promising to join them later. Sang-woo lies to his mother about being on a business trip and tries to end his life with charcoal gas. Police officers tell his mother he's wanted for fraud and other crimes. His attempt fails when someone delivers a game card to his door. The gangster Deok-soo, player 101, shows the game card to his friend, planning to track the game vans and steal the prize money. Instead, his friend reveals he betrayed Deok-soo to people he owes money to. Deok-soo fights back and jumps off a bridge to escape, surviving the fall. Desperate, Gi-hun asks his ex-wife Yoon-ji for help. They argue about their past and his failures as a father. Her new husband offers money if Gi-hun stops seeing his daughter. Angry, Gi-hun refuses and leaves. He meets Detective Jun-ho again but declines to help find his brother, feeling useless. Player 001 tells Gi-hun at a store that the outside world is terrible too, and he'd rather return to the games than wait for his brain tumor to take him. Eventually, realizing their lives outside are hopeless, most players decide to return to the games. They wait at midnight to be picked up, while Detective Jun-ho secretly follows the cars to find out what's happening. Episode 3 opens with the players returning to the games in SUVs. Detective Jun-ho secretly follows them to a ferry and takes the place of guard number 29 by stealing his uniform and circle-shaped mask. While the players are unconscious from the gas, the guards in red uniforms prepare them for the games by changing their clothes and removing their belongings. Se Byeok manages to stay awake during transport by positioning her head carefully. She cleverly hides a small knife in a guard's pocket while they change her clothes, then retrieves it later. Of the original 201 survivors, 187 players have returned to continue the games. The players begin forming teams. Gi-hun joins with his friends Sang-woo, Ali, and the old man, player 001. A woman named Han Min-yu tries to join the gang leader Deok-soo's group, but they reject her. She then forms an uneasy partnership with Se Byeok instead. The guards also live under strict rules, similar to the players. They march through the same colorful hallways, eat from metal trays, and follow orders from a woman's voice over speakers. They have countdown clocks in their rooms and are known only by numbers. Jun-ho, pretending to be guard 29, carefully observes everything while taking notes on his phone about the island, kidnappings, and surveillance. Han Min-yu and Se Byeok visit the bathroom together, while Han distracts a guard by claiming stomach problems. Se Byeok climbs through the air vent. She discovers guards making a green soup and adding a mysterious white powder. When the guard eventually checks on them, Han loudly protests about privacy violations and threatens to report him once she's free. The next morning, Sang-woo notices Se Byeok isn't eating her breakfast pastry. She tells Han about the sugar smell she detected in the kitchen. Examining his own pastry, Sang-woo finds a paper inside with the word honeycomb written on it, revealing a hint about the next game. The second game takes place in a playground with colorful fences. Players must choose one of 4 shapes: circle, triangle, star, or umbrella. Gi-hun picks umbrella, remembering a childhood memory about losing one. Each player receives a tin containing a thin honeycomb wafer with their chosen shape. They have 10 minutes to remove the shape using only a needle without breaking it. The task proves extremely difficult as the delicate wafer breaks easily. Gi-hun struggles especially with the complex umbrella shape. When players fail, they are immediately eliminated. The situation becomes tense as players desperately try to focus while others are being shot around them. Sang-woo and Ali finish first and leave the arena. Jun-ho, still pretending to be guard 29, gets in trouble for being in the wrong place, as guard 29 was supposed to be on cleanup duty. He's told to stay after the game to explain himself. A breakthrough happens when Gi-hun's sweat falls on the wafer and slightly melts it. He starts carefully licking the honeycomb to remove his shape. Other players notice and copy his technique. Han uses a hidden lighter to melt the edges of her star shape, then shares the lighter with Deok-soo to gain his favor. Just as Gi-hun completes his shape, chaos erupts. A failing player attacks a guard with his needle, holding him hostage and demanding he remove his mask. The young guard's face is revealed, shocking the player, who then takes his own life. The front man, the leader in black, enters and eliminates the unmasked guard, stating that once someone's identity is revealed, everything is over. The episode ends with Jun-ho picking up a square-shaped mask from a fallen guard, upgrading his disguise from the circle mask he had been wearing. Episode 4 opens immediately after the honeycomb game. A guard leads player 111, a doctor, to a secret area while another guard erases security footage of this meeting. The remaining players gather in the main room, where they learn that 79 players were eliminated in the previous game, adding 7.4 billion won to the prize pool, now totaling 34.8 billion. Gi-hun, Ali, player 199, and the old man, player 001, are happy to see each other alive, though Gi-hun suspects Sang-woo knew something about the game but didn't warn them. The players line up for their meal, 1 egg and a soda. The gang leader Deok-soo, player 101, and Min-yu, player 212, cut in line for seconds, leaving 5 players without food. When player 271 confronts Deok-soo, a fight breaks out. The guards don't stop Deok-soo from hurting player 271, and more money is added to the prize when player 271 dies. In the medical room, Detective Jun-ho upgrades his disguise to a square-masked supervisor. Meanwhile, player 111 meets with corrupt guards who are making him help with secret medical procedures in exchange for game information.
내일 게임의 문제.
They tell him they reduced food portions to cause fighting, warning him to join the strongest team to survive the night. Gi-hun's group, sensing danger, agrees to stick together. They invite Se-byeok, player 067, to join them. That night, chaos erupts when the lights go out. Deok-soo and his group attack other players while guards watch through cameras. Player 001, who climbed to the highest bed, begs everyone to stop fighting. The frontman ends the violence, with only 80 players remaining alive. Jun-ho, disguised as a guard, asks Gi-hun about someone named Huang and Ho, but Gi-hun says they don't know each other's names. After this, Gi-hun's group shares their real names, though player 001 can't remember his. Player 111 joins Deok-soo's team after sharing information about the next game. Min-yu befriends Deok-soo and warns him not to betray her. That night, Jun-ho hears Morse code through the wall, someone tapping out 29, his room number. The next morning, players must form teams of 10 for the next game. Sang-woo suggests they need strong teammates, but when they can't find enough people, they end up with Min-yu on their team after Deok-soo rejects her to form an all-strong player group.
나는 오빠 없이 안 되는데.
The third game is revealed to be tug-of-war on a high platform. Losing means falling to death. Deok-soo's team easily wins their first match. When Gi-hun's team faces a group of strong men, they worry about losing until player 001 shares his strategy from childhood. He teaches them to position the rope under their arms, plant their feet forward, and lean back for the first 10 seconds. Following this technique, they manage to throw off the other team's rhythm. Just when it seems they might win, the other team regains control. In a desperate move, Sang-woo tells everyone to take 3 steps forward on his count, hoping to make their opponent stumble. The episode ends as Gi-hun's team takes these crucial steps. Episode 5 opens with Sang-woo's desperate plan working. His team wins the tug-of-war by taking 3 steps forward, causing their opponents to lose balance and fall. In the elevator afterward, tension rises between team members.
길 잃은 어린 양아.
Player 244 prays in gratitude, but player 240 argues they should thank Sang-woo and player 001 instead of God. Se-byeok tells them both to be quiet. Meanwhile, the guards are handling bodies from the games, but one casket is secretly diverted to a hidden room where player 111, the doctor, is called to help with forbidden procedures. In the main room, the players prepare for another night, worried about potential fights. Player 196 expresses doubt about their team's chances of survival, while player 244 suggests they should attack first instead of waiting. Gi-hun proposes a solution: build a barricade with bed frames and sheets, then take turns guarding it. When Deok-soo approaches to threaten them, Gi-hun cleverly suggests that Deok-soo's own team might turn against him as the strongest player, making Deok-soo paranoid about his allies.
내 팀이라는 저 쓰레기 같은 인간들을.
During the first guard shift, Ali and Sang-woo share food and stories. Ali stops calling Sang-woo sir, marking their growing friendship. In the facility's hidden areas, Detective Jun-ho, disguised as Guard 29, and Guard 28 discover a secret medical room. They find the doctor working with other corrupt guards, exchanging game information for illegal medical procedures. While guarding the barricade, Gi-hun shares his past with player 001, telling him about a workers' strike at his former car factory that happened the day his daughter was born. During their conversation, they notice player 001 has developed a fever. Se-byeok gives him water, demanding he repay her later. The doctor becomes angry when he learns the corrupt guards don't have information about the next game. In panic, he harms one guard and runs away. Jun-ho follows Guard 28 to a room with diving equipment and an underwater tunnel. When Guard 28 becomes suspicious and confronts Jun-ho, they both remove their masks.
죽여서 확인할까?
Jun-ho questions him about someone missing a kidney, thinking of his brother. After a tense conversation, Jun-ho is forced to stop Guard 28. The frontman discovers the doctor and the remaining corrupt guard in the playground area. He eliminates them both for breaking the game's fairness rules by sharing secret information. The frontman then realizes someone else is still in the complex when they find more evidence. Jun-ho sneaks into the frontman's office, searching for information about his missing brother. He discovers files dating back to 1998 and finds a small box containing past winners' names. To his shock, he learns his brother won the games in 2015. He opens his brother's file just as alarms begin sounding throughout the facility. The episode ends with guards rushing into the main room, ordering everyone to gather in the center. When they reach player 001, they find he has become very ill. Meanwhile, Jun-ho must face the implications of discovering his brother's connection to the games. Episode 6 opens with the players entering a room where they see the bodies of player 111, the doctor, and the corrupt guards displayed as a warning. The frontman announces that the game was created with fairness in mind, and cheating will not be tolerated. These bodies serve as a grim reminder of the consequences of breaking rules. Meanwhile, Detective Jun-ho continues his investigation by secretly watching the frontman's movements from hidden locations in the compound. The players are instructed to choose partners for the next game.
왜? 나랑 같이 하게?
Sang-woo quickly pairs with Ali, believing their combination of intelligence and strength will help them succeed. Gi-hun notices player 001 sitting alone and chooses to partner with him instead of accepting player 062's offer. Se-byeok teams up with Ji-young, player 240, after refusing to join groups that discriminate against women players. Min-yu, rejected by everyone due to her previous betrayals, can't find a partner and is taken away by guards. The fourth game is revealed to be marbles, and the rules shock everyone. Each player receives 10 marbles and must win all their partner's marbles through any game they choose, without using force. The devastating twist is that they must play against their own partner, and the loser will be eliminated. This revelation horrifies the players, especially a married couple who chose to partner together. Players have just 30 minutes to complete their games. Sang-woo and Ali's game begins with Ali taking an early lead. As his marbles dwindle, Sang-woo becomes increasingly desperate. He creates an elaborate lie, telling Ali they can both survive by finding other teams to challenge. He convinces Ali to hold on to both their marble pouches while searching for these supposed other teams. However, this is a cruel deception. Sang-woo secretly replaces Ali's marbles with pebbles, ensuring his own survival while betraying his friend's trust. Se-byeok and Ji-young take a different approach, choosing to spend most of their precious time sharing their life stories. Ji-young reveals her painful past of being imprisoned for protecting her mother from her abusive father. Se-byeok shares her family's attempt to escape North Korea, where only she and her brother made it to South Korea, while her father died during the escape and her mother was caught.
동생이랑 같이 지낼 집 하나 구하고.
When they finally play their marble game, Ji-young deliberately loses, explaining that Se-byeok deserves to live because she has family to save and care for. Deok-soo faces his teammate player 278 in an intense match. When he starts losing, Deok-soo convinces the guards to let him change games, citing the rule about equality. They play a new game throwing marbles into a hole, where the winner claims all marbles in play. Through an unexpected twist of luck, Deok-soo wins when his opponent's marble accidentally knocks his into the hole. Player 278 attempts to escape but is caught and eliminated by the guards. Gi-hun's game with player 001 becomes increasingly difficult as the old man appears severely confused, wandering around believing they're in his old neighborhood. Gi-hun reluctantly takes advantage of this state, using the old man's apparent memory problems to win his marbles through deception. However, in a powerful twist, player 001 reveals he was aware of Gi-hun's trickery all along. Instead of being angry, he gives Gi-hun his last marble, calling them ganbu, a term meaning close friends who share everything. Before being taken away, he finally tells Gi-hun his name is Il-nam. The game concludes with a series of tragic deaths. Ali discovers Sang-woo's betrayal too late, looking at his former friend with tears of disbelief before being eliminated. Ji-young faces her end with dignity, smiling at Se-byeok one final time and thanking her for their friendship. The sound of a gunshot marks Il-nam's departure as Gi-hun walks away in tears. From all the players who entered this round, only 16 remain alive. The episode powerfully demonstrates how the game corrupts friendship and trust, forcing good people to either betray their allies or sacrifice themselves. Episode 7 opens with the frontman preparing for important visitors called VIPs while also searching for an intruder in the facility. The episode begins with a somber scene showing Ali's body being taken away in a coffin. When the surviving players return to the barracks, they're shocked to find Min-yu alive and well. She wasn't eliminated for being unpaired in the marble game. She explains that the game has a rule about not abandoning the weakest player, which saved her life. The atmosphere in the barracks is heavy as players process their losses from the marble game. Se-byeok quietly eats her meal, still grieving Ji-young's sacrifice. Sang-woo tries to convince Gi-hun not to feel guilty about Il-nam's death, saying he was just an old man they barely knew. Player 069, who had to compete against his wife in the previous game, desperately begs others to vote to end the games. When no one supports his plea, Sang-woo harshly tells him he should have died instead of his wife. The next morning, guards find player 069 has taken his own life with bedsheets. More money drops into the prize piggy bank despite this death happening outside the games. The players then enter a room with numbered vests from 1 to 16. They must choose their numbers, which will determine their play order in the next game. Players frantically rush to get middle numbers, thinking they might be safer. Some choose numbers for personal reasons. One picks 6 for religious significance, another picks 7 for luck. Gi-hun carefully considers whether being first or last would be better, but while he's thinking, he's left with number 16, the last position, after kindly letting another player take number 1 when they ask to have control over their fate. The fifth game is revealed, glass stepping stones. Players must cross a bridge made of glass panels, choosing between 2 panels at each step. One is tempered glass that can hold 2 people, the other is regular glass that will break under any weight. They have 16 minutes to cross. Players must go in order of their chosen numbers, and the first few players serve as unwitting test subjects, falling to their deaths but marking the safe path for others. The math teacher, player 062, calculates his odds and makes a desperate run, making it several panels before falling. Meanwhile, Detective Jun-ho infiltrates the VIP viewing area by disguising himself as a server. The VIPs are wealthy foreigners speaking English, wearing elaborate animal masks, and betting large sums on the players' lives. When one VIP takes Jun-ho to a private room and tries to force himself on him, Jun-ho overpowers him and records him revealing information about the games while threatening his life. On the bridge, tensions escalate when Deok-soo reaches the front. He refuses to move forward, forcing others behind him to go first. Min-yu, whom he had previously betrayed, reminds him of her promise to end him if he betrayed her. She approaches him on the bridge, pretending to help, then grabs him tightly and pulls them both through a glass panel to their deaths, fulfilling her promise of revenge. Player 017, who worked at a glass factory for 30 years, helps the remaining players by identifying tempered glass through light reflections. However, the frontman notices this advantage and dims the lights to make it impossible. Gi-hun offers his marble from the previous game to test the glass's sound, but they need another object to compare panels. When player 017 hesitates too long with time running out, Sang-woo pushes him forward to his death, revealing the safe path but shocking his companions with his ruthlessness. The final 3 players, Sang-woo, Se-byeok, and Gi-hun, rush across the remaining panels just as time expires. Suddenly, all remaining glass panels explode, showering them with sharp fragments. Meanwhile, the frontman discovers Jun-ho's true identity when they find the unconscious VIP and Jun-ho's police badge. Guards chase Jun-ho to the island's edge, where he escapes into the water wearing scuba gear, leaving everyone wondering if his waterproof phone survived to reveal the truth about the games. Episode 8 opens with Detective Jun-ho reaching another island after escaping the game facility. Unable to get a phone signal, he runs toward a mountain while being pursued by the front man and his soldiers, who find Jun-ho's diving equipment. The front man orders his men to capture Jun-ho alive. Jun-ho finds a weak signal and attempts to call for police backup, but his chief can barely hear him through the poor connection. Back at the facility, the 3 remaining players, Gi-hun, Sang-woo, and Se-byeok, return to the lobby. Gi-hun confronts Sang-woo about pushing player 017 to his death in the previous game. Sang-woo defends his actions, saying they were running out of time. When Gi-hun asks if Sang-woo would have killed him in the same situation, Sang-woo responds by criticizing Gi-hun's life choices. Gi-hun retorts by questioning how Sang-woo, once their neighborhood's pride, ended up in the same desperate situation. The argument is interrupted when staff members bring in boxes containing formal clothes for the finalists. While changing, Se-byeok discovers she was severely injured by glass shards from the bridge explosion. She removes a large piece from her abdomen and tries to bandage the wound with her shirt. The 3 finalists are served an elegant steak dinner. While Gi-hun and Sang-woo eat heartily, Se-byeok barely touches her food due to her hidden injury. After dinner, the staff leaves their steak knives behind, which each player secretly keeps. Meanwhile, Jun-ho reaches the mountain's peak but is cornered by soldiers. He threatens that he's already sent evidence to the police, but the front man doubts this due to poor reception. When the front man approaches, Jun-ho shoots him in the shoulder. Instead of retaliating, the front man removes his mask, revealing himself as Jun-ho's missing brother, In-ho. When Jun-ho refuses to join him, In-ho shoots his brother, causing him to fall into the ocean. In the dorms, as the players rest, Gi-hun approaches Se-byeok. Though initially defensive, she listens as they discuss their families and make a promise to help each other's loved ones if either survives. Noticing Sang-woo asleep, Gi-hun considers using his knife, but Se-byeok stops him, saying he's not a killer. Shortly after, Se-byeok collapses from her wound, deliriously asking to go home. Gi-hun runs to the door begging for medical help. When the doors finally open, workers enter carrying a coffin. Gi-hun turns to find Sang-woo standing near Se-byeok's bed with a bloody knife, having taken advantage of the situation to eliminate her. Enraged, Gi-hun tries to attack Sang-woo with his own knife, but guards quickly subdue them both. As Se-byeok's body is placed in the coffin, Gi-hun breaks down in despair, leaving only him and his childhood friend turned enemy to compete in the final game. Episode 9 opens with the final game between Gi-hun and Sang-woo. After winning a coin toss, Gi-hun chooses to play offense in the Squid game, the same childhood game they played together years ago. Still furious about Sang-woo killing Se-byeok, Gi-hun confronts his former friend as they begin the game on the same playground where they played red light, green light in the first round. The match quickly turns into a fierce battle in the artificial rain. Both players use every trick they can think of. Gi-hun throws sand in Sang-woo's eyes, while Sang-woo uses his jacket as a weapon. They fight with their steak knives from dinner, leading to Gi-hun getting stabbed through his hand. Despite the injury, Gi-hun manages to gain the upper hand through sheer determination. When he's just one step away from winning by reaching the squid's head, he makes a surprising decision. Instead of finishing the game, Gi-hun invokes the third clause that allows players to end the games by majority vote. He offers Sang-woo a chance to leave together, saying they can both survive. Sang-woo, realizing what he's become, apologizes for his actions. Rather than accept Gi-hun's offer, he stabs himself in the neck. As Sang-woo dies in his arms, he asks Gi-hun to help his mother. Through this tragic act, Gi-hun becomes the winner of the games by default. The frontman drives Gi-hun home in a limousine, advising him to forget everything and think of it as a bad dream. After being left blindfolded on a street, Gi-hun finds a debit card in his mouth containing the prize money. When he visits Sang-woo's mother's shop, she gives him dried fish and innocently asks about her son. Upon returning home, Gi-hun makes a heartbreaking discovery. His mother has died from her diabetes while he was away competing in the games. 1 year later, Gi-hun remains deeply traumatized and has barely touched his prize money of 45.6 billion won. When visiting the bank, he's offered VIP services but only asks to borrow 10,000 won. He spends his days drinking by the river, his appearance unkempt. One day, a flower seller approaches him, and attached to the flower is a mysterious card with the game's symbols. Following the card's address, Gi-hun finds player 001, Il-nam, alive but dying in a luxury apartment. Il-nam reveals he is the game's creator and host, explaining that extreme wealth left him and other rich people bored, so they created the games for entertainment. He makes one final bet with Gi-hun about whether anyone will help a drunk man lying outside before midnight. Minutes before the deadline, a police officer helps the man, proving Gi-hun's faith in humanity right, but Il-nam dies moments after seeing his bet lost. This revelation spurs Gi-hun to action. He changes his appearance by dyeing his hair bright red and begins fulfilling his promises. He takes Se-byeok's brother from the orphanage and brings him to Sang-woo's mother, leaving them a suitcase filled with money. Just as he's about to board a flight to visit his daughter in America, he spots the same recruiter playing the card-flipping game with another potential contestant. Driven by his conscience, Gi-hun retrieves the game card and calls the number. The frontman answers, addressing him as player 456 and warning him to board his flight for his own good. Instead of listening, Gi-hun declares that he cannot forgive them for their actions. He vows to uncover their identities and stop their cruel games, saying he won't let them treat people like horses in a race. The series ends as Gi-hun turns away from his flight, choosing to fight against the game's organizers rather than leave for America, showing that sometimes winning means more than just surviving. Season 2 opens with Sung Gi-hun, the winner of the first Squid Game, about to board a plane to see his family in America. However, he gets a mysterious call from the frontman warning him to leave the country. Instead of boarding, Gi-hun checks himself and finds a tracking device behind his ear. He removes it with a box cutter and flushes it down a bathroom drain. The story jumps forward 2 years. Gi-hun has been using his prize money to search for the recruiter, the man who first got him into the games. He bought a motel to use as his base of operations and hired a team of former loan sharks, led by Mr. Kim and his assistant Woo-sok, to help search. Gi-hun offers 500 million won to whoever finds the recruiter.
게임을 지금도 하고 있다면
Meanwhile, police officer Jun-ho is alive after being shot by his brother, the front man, in the previous season. He now works as a traffic officer since his colleagues didn't believe his story about the deadly games on a secret island. In his free time, he charters boats and goes scuba diving, searching hundreds of uninhabited islands to find where the games take place. Mr. Kim and Woo-sok finally spot the recruiter at a subway station. They follow him while updating Gi-hun on his location. As Gi-hun rushes to join them, he gets pulled over for speeding by Jun-ho and his partner. After the traffic stop, Jun-ho recognizes Gi-hun from the games and starts investigating him. The recruiter is seen tormenting homeless people by offering them either bread or lottery tickets.
왜 우린 안 주냐?
When they choose lottery tickets and lose, he stomps on the bread while laughing maniacally. Mr. Kim and Woo-sok continue following him. but he catches them. The recruiter ties up Mr. Kim and Woo-sok to chairs and forces them to play a deadly game combining rock paper scissors with Russian roulette while classical music plays. The game requires players to use only one hand, and the loser faces the loaded gun. When Woo-sok makes a mistake, Mr. Kim has a chance to win but instead sacrifices himself to save his employee. The recruiter then tracks down Gi-hun at his motel. He reveals his backstory, including how he killed his own father who became a game contestant. He challenges Gi-hun to another round of Russian roulette, this time with 5 bullets instead of 1. They take turns, with the gun pointing randomly at each player. During the game, they discuss morality and human nature. The recruiter believes people in debt deserve to die and are worthless. He says if either of them cheats, it would prove his point about human nature. Gi-hun refuses to cheat despite multiple close calls with death. When Gi-hun wins the game fairly, the recruiter stays true to his beliefs.
6분의 1로 확률을 리셋하는 겁니다.
Rather than trying to escape or harm Gi-hun, he takes his own life with a gun. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is on his way to the motel, having found Gi-hun's location by breaking into the loan shark's office. Episode 2 opens right after the recruiter's death. Jun-ho hears the gunshot and rushes into the motel, searching room by room. He finds Woo-sok tied up in one of the rooms. When Jun-ho asks about Gi-hun's location, Woo-sok tells him which room to check. Before Jun-ho reaches him, Gi-hun discovers a card in the recruiter's possession that might lead to the front man. Jun-ho enters and attempts to arrest Gi-hun for the recruiter's death. However, Woo-sok attacks Jun-ho from behind with a fire extinguisher. This leads to a conversation where Gi-hun and Jun-ho discuss working together to end the games.
집으로 날 찾아왔었지.
Jun-ho chooses not to reveal that the front man is his brother. Gi-hun shows Jun-ho and Woo-sok a hidden facility he built for training. He asks Woo-sok to hire ex-military personnel to help their mission. The team decides to implant a tracking device in Gi-hun's fake tooth to keep track of his movements. They spend several days preparing and training with various weapons in the underground facility. The card from the recruiter leads them to a Halloween party at a nightclub. Gi-hun and Woo-sok enter while Jun-ho and their mercenary team wait outside in 2 separate vehicles. 2 guards in pink jumpsuits enter the club through different entrances. One guard approaches Gi-hun and leads him away. The second guard finds Woo-sok following them and stops him using an electric device. The guard drags Woo-sok to a back room and restrains him. The first guard takes Gi-hun to a white limousine where he speaks with the front man through a golden pig-shaped speaker. Gi-hun asks to be included in the games again. Though this was meant to trap the front man, he anticipated being followed. His guards shoot the tires of both vehicles following the limousine. The shots cause the vehicles to crash, leaving Jun-ho and the mercenary team stranded. During their conversation in the limousine, the front man says the games will continue until society changes its unfair treatment of poor people.
세상이 바뀌지 않는
Gas fills the limousine, making Gi-hun unconscious. The divider rolls down to reveal the front man in the passenger seat. Through flashbacks, we learn about the front man's past. He joined the games because of massive medical bills from trying to save his wife, who passed away despite their efforts. Meanwhile, the episode introduces Kang No-oil, a North Korean who escaped after harming a high-ranking officer. She left behind a young child and husband, and now works at an amusement park wearing character costumes. She lives in her car and struggles to make ends meet. At the park, she forms a special bond with a sick young girl named Na-yeon, who loves the pink bunny costume No-oil wears. Despite her cold attitude toward other employees, No-oil shows genuine care for Na-yeon.
부족하면 돈은 더 가져다 드릴게요.
The young girl visits No-oil in the dressing room and gives her a heartfelt drawing of them together. When Na-yeon's condition worsens severely, No-oil receives a mysterious brown business card similar to the ones the recruiter used to hand out. She calls the number printed on it and provides her personal information as requested by the voice on the other end. The episode shows No-oil arriving at a bridge underpass where several large trucks are parked. She enters one of the trucks and finds a changing room inside. Instead of becoming a game contestant as expected, she puts on a pink guard uniform, revealing her new role in the deadly games. The episode concludes with Jun-ho making a call to mobilize the rest of their team, announcing that Plan B is now in effect. The frontman's guards continue to eliminate any pursuit, while Gi-hun remains unconscious in the limousine, now trapped with the very person he's been hunting for 2 years. The crashed vehicles burn on the street as the white limousine disappears into the night. Episode 3 opens with Jun-ho's team following Gi-hun's tracking device to a remote island. After climbing difficult terrain, they only find the device abandoned by a fisherman, revealing that the frontman's team discovered and removed it from Gi-hun.
5분 안에
The discovery raises concerns about a potential spy within their operation. The scene shifts to the game location, where 456 players wake up wearing green jumpsuits with assigned numbers. Guards explain the rules. The winner gets 45.6 billion won. Among the players are YouTuber Myung-gi, player 333, who caused his followers to lose money in a cryptocurrency scheme, and rapper Thanos, player 230, who lost everything in the same scheme. Thanos appears unstable and aggressive from the start. Other notable players include Junhee, player 222, who keeps clutching her stomach in pain, Young-sik, player 007, a desperate gambler, Jiam-ja, player 149, Young-sik's elderly mother who joined to help her son, Yoon-bae, player 390, who recognizes Gi-hun from their past, and Yoon-ju, player 120, a soft-spoken individual who quickly aligns with Gi-hun. The group also includes Nam-gyu, player 124, another victim of the crypto scheme, fashionista Kang Mina, player 196, wealthy but debt-ridden businessman Im Jong-dae, player 100, middle-aged Kim Nam-do, player 444, mysterious mystic player 044, and amusement park artist player 246, whose daughter suffers from cancer. When some players question their situation, guards reveal everyone's massive debts as the reason for their participation. The first game is announced as red light, green light, with the same rules from season 1. Players must move during green light and freeze during red light. Before the game begins, Gi-hun desperately warns everyone they'll be shot if they move after red light. Most players initially doubt him until one player gets shot for moving. The game turns chaotic when player 196 gets stung by a bee, causing her to flinch and get shot. This triggers widespread panic. During the ensuing chaos, Thanos, who has taken some kind of pill, deliberately pushes other players during red light, causing multiple deaths. The situation worsens as players try to dodge Thanos while staying still during red light commands. Near the game's end, Gi-hun and Yeon-ju help an injured player cross the finish line. Despite their success in getting him across, No Oil, now Soldier 011, executes the wounded player anyway, demonstrating the guard's ruthlessness. The first game eliminates 91 players, leaving 365 survivors. The terrified remaining players beg to leave. Gi-hun reminds the guards about Clause 3, which allows players to vote on continuing the games. While encouraging others to vote for ending the games, Gi-hun reveals he won the previous games and the prize money. This revelation causes some players to think his experience could help them win instead of making them want to leave. The vote comes down to a tie, with player 001 casting the deciding vote. In a shocking twist, player 001 votes to continue the games, then reveals himself as the front man, In-ho. He explains he voted to continue to prove to Gi-hun that people will always choose money over life. The episode ends with the game set to continue, the players realizing the deadly reality of their situation, and Gi-hun facing his nemesis as a fellow player. Meanwhile, Junho's team must develop a new plan to infiltrate the games after losing track of Gi-hun. Episode 4 opens after the red light, green light game, with player 001, who is secretly the front man, In-ho, approaching Gi-hun. He explains he voted to continue because Gi-hun won before and could help others survive. All the surviving players gather around Gi-hun, eagerly asking about what comes next in the deadly competition. Drawing from his previous experience, Gi-hun tells them about the Dalgona game, which involved choosing shapes, triangle, circle, star, or umbrella, and carefully removing them from a honeycomb cookie using a needle within 10 minutes. He strongly advises everyone to choose the triangle shape as it's the easiest to complete. Some players want to keep this information secret, but Gi-hun insists on sharing it with everyone if Dalgona turns out to be the next game. That night, Gi-hun experiences a terrifying nightmare where the triangle shape transforms into something more challenging than the dreaded umbrella pattern. His fears prove unnecessary when the second game is announced as the six-legged pentathlon instead of Dalgona. During the waiting period, tension erupts as Thanos and his friend physically confront Myung-gi over the cryptocurrency scheme that ruined them. Player 001 intervenes, surprising everyone by easily overpowering both attackers and establishing himself as a strong figure among the players. The guards explain the six-legged pentathlon rules. Teams of 5 players must compete with their legs tied together. At every 10-meter interval, one team member must complete a specific minigame to progress. The 5 minigames are dakji, flying stone, gongi, spinning top, and jegi. Teams must successfully complete all games and cross the finish line within 5 minutes to survive. Teams begin forming strategic alliances. Gi-hun's team includes his old friend Yoon-bae, player 390, player 001, In-ho, Junhee, player 222, and ex-marine Dae-ho, player 388. Another notable team consists of Yeon-ju, player 120, Young-sik, player 007, and his elderly mother Jiam-ja, player 149. Thanos assembles his own team of loyal followers. The first round pits Team 1, players 341, 395, 045, 286, and 254, against Team 2, players 189, 416, 178, 198, and 016. Though Team 2 wins the opening minigame, Team 1 quickly takes the lead. The competition becomes intense as Team 2 repeatedly fails at Flying Stone while Team 1 struggles with the precise movements required for Gongi. Eventually, Team 1 completes the spinning top challenge, and Team 2 finally conquers Flying Stone. However, tragedy strikes as neither team finishes the course within the 5-minute limit, resulting in the execution of all 10 players. Meanwhile, a significant revelation occurs when it becomes known that Junhee is pregnant, and Myung-gi is the father. This discovery happens during an emotional private conversation before the game begins. The episode also reveals troubling developments among the guards, as organ harvesters notice unusual multiple gunshot wounds on many bodies, suggesting unauthorized killings. Suspicion falls heavily on No Oil, the North Korean defector turned guard. No Oil faces questioning from a masked officer who reminds her of their 7-year history together. Despite intense interrogation about her recent suspicious behavior, No Oil maintains her secrecy while continuing her personal mission to locate her missing child. Outside the game facility, Junho desperately seeks help at Seoul Station but faces rejection due to lack of evidence. Undeterred, he begins exploring alternative methods to expose the games and rescue the remaining players. The episode concludes as teams prepare for the second round of the 6-legged pentathlon, with the surviving players watching nervously, knowing they must soon face the same deadly challenge that just claimed 10 lives. Episode 5 opens with the continuation of the 6-legged pentathlon game. Yeonju's team takes their turn, consisting of Yeonju, player 120, Young-sik, player 007, Jeom-ja, player 149, Seon-yu, player 044, and player 095. They develop effective strategies for each minigame, demonstrating perfect teamwork and coordination. In Dakji, player 095 initially struggles but succeeds after Yeonju suggests flipping the tile before striking. For Flying Stone, player 007 innovates by walking backward after collecting the stone instead of turning around, saving precious time. Player 149 handles Gongi with remarkable patience, completing it after several careful attempts. Their strategic approach helps them finish within the time limit. Meanwhile, No Oil faces serious trouble with other guards who corner her in her room. They threaten her with a knife, calling her offensive names related to her North Korean background. Despite trying to defend herself, she's overwhelmed by their numbers. She emerges later with a visible cut on her cheek, silently preparing to oversee the next game. Several other teams compete throughout the day, with some succeeding and others facing elimination. Finally, it's time for Gi-hun's team to perform. Their team includes Gi-hun, player 456, player 001, secretly the front man, Young-bae, player 390, Dae-ho, player 388, and Junhee, player 222. The tension builds as they prepare for their turn. Junhee starts strong, completing Dakji perfectly on the first try. Young-bae follows with a flawless Flying Stone attempt. Dae-ho impresses everyone with his swift completion of Gongi, his hands moving with incredible speed and accuracy. However, the team faces a major setback when player 001 repeatedly fails at the spinning top game. He becomes increasingly frustrated, hitting himself and calling himself worthless. The team rallies around him with encouragement, and after multiple attempts, he finally succeeds. In the final Jegi game, Gi-hun must keep a paper Jegi airborne with 5 kicks without letting it touch the ground. He manages 3 kicks close to his body with careful control, but the 4th kick sends the Jegi far away, nearly ending their chances. In a crucial moment, player 001 helps by pulling Gi-hun's leg closer to the Jegi, enabling the final successful kick. Their team completes the course just within the time limit, while the opposing team fails and faces immediate elimination. After the intense games, another vote is held to decide whether to continue or end the games. The room grows tense as Young-bae and Yeonju, who previously opposed continuing, surprisingly vote to proceed. When questioned by other players, they reveal their overwhelming debts and desperate circumstances. Young-bae explains about loan sharks threatening his family, while Yeonju shares personal struggles that require immediate financial resolution. During the night, Gi-hun gathers his allies and advises them to take turns keeping watch, anticipating potential threats. In a private moment, Young-sik's mother reveals she has managed to smuggle in a blade, carefully hidden in her hair, which could prove useful in future dangerous situations. The next morning, the guards announce a new game called Mingle. The rules require all players to stand on a rotating platform in the arena center. When a number is called out, players have exactly 30 seconds to form groups of that exact size and enter one of the 50 surrounding rooms. The guards emphasize that any players who fail to form the correct group size or enter a room within the time limit will face immediate elimination. As more than 250 survivors take their positions on the platform, the reality of their situation becomes clear. With only 50 rooms available, many will not survive this round. Groups begin forming allegiances, planning to stick together when the numbers are called. Simultaneously, Jun-ho launches a new mission to locate Gi-hun, believing he might hold the key to exposing the games. No Oil, still bearing the fresh wound from her earlier confrontation, joins the other guards to oversee the game, her true motives remaining unclear. The episode concludes as the platform begins its rotation, the mechanical whirring echoing through the arena. Players exchange nervous glances, knowing that their survival depends not only on quick thinking but also on whether others choose to help or betray them in the scramble for safety. The first number could be called at any moment, marking the start of another deadly challenge in the increasingly dangerous competition. Episode 6 opens in a large arena with 50 rooms around a rotating circle platform. Players must stand on the circle while music plays. When it stops, the announcer calls a number, and players have to make groups of that size and enter rooms before time runs out. Those left outside are eliminated. The first players to face elimination panic and try to force their way into rooms, but the guards prevent this and remove them from the game. In the first round, groups of 5 are called. Player 456, Gi-hun, forms a group with players 011, 390, Young-bae, 388, Dae-ho, and 222, Jun-hee. They help each other survive multiple rounds as different group sizes are announced. During the early rounds, many players fail to find groups in time and are eliminated. The survivors watch helplessly as numbers dwindle after each round. Some players try to hide in rooms alone but are discovered and eliminated since this breaks the rules. Player Young-sik becomes separated from his mother when a group of 3 is called. Another player named In-ho tries to upset Young-sik's mother by saying her son abandoned her, but she refuses to believe this. Young-sik survives the round, but the separation causes great distress. A player named Young-mi doesn't survive this round, deeply affecting another player named Yeon-ju. Despite the difficulty, Myung-gi manages to save several players by letting them into his room, though this creates mixed feelings among the survivors. The game continues until 126 players remain. Player 001 correctly predicts the final round will need pairs since there are 50 rooms. When pairs are announced, chaos erupts as players scramble to find partners. Many close friends and allies become separated in the rush. Player 001 and Young-bae rush to a yellow room. Finding a third player inside, Player 001 eliminates them since only 2 are allowed per room. This shocks Young-bae, who sees Player 001's ruthless side. The intense game ends with exactly 100 survivors making it through. On the island search, Jun-ho's team uses a drone and finds a hidden door among dense vegetation. When they attempt to open it, a trap activates suddenly and hurts team members. Despite the setback, they plan to continue searching tomorrow, determined to uncover the facility's location. The team discusses various approaches to avoid more traps. Back at the game facility, players who survived include Minsu, who joins Thanos and Nam-gyu's group. Gi-hun begins counting how many X and O voters remain, finding the numbers nearly equal. He considers trying to convince others to change their votes. In-ho attempts to influence the group by suggesting they remain calm rather than changing anything. The players gather for an important vote on whether to continue playing or leave with 356 million won each. The room divides between the Ahs who want to continue and the X's who want to stop. Minsu surprises everyone by voting to stop. The tension builds as each player votes, coming down to player 001. When he unexpectedly picks X, the vote ends in a tie. A re-vote is scheduled for the next day. The players split into their voting groups, with X's and Ahs taking opposite sides of the sleeping area. The division creates a tense atmosphere as both sides try to influence others. In the bathroom, Thanos and Nam-gyu corner Minsu and pressure him about changing his vote. When Myung-gi enters and tries to intervene, a violent fight breaks out between the groups. The situation escalates quickly as more players join the brawl. As Thanos attacks Minsu, Minsu grabs a fork, possibly the same one Gi-hun had used earlier at mealtime, and strikes Thanos in the neck. The episode ends in the chaotic bathroom scene with the fight still ongoing. Blood spreads across the bathroom floor as other players watch in horror. The re-vote remains pending, and Jun-ho's team continues planning their next search attempt despite the dangerous traps they've encountered. The fates of both Minsu and Thanos hang in balance as the violence unfolds in the bathroom. Episode 7 opens in the bathroom where the fight between X and O teams reaches its peak. Myung-gi defends himself against Thanos using a fork, striking him in the neck. The fight escalates quickly and becomes extremely violent, resulting in 5 players losing their lives while guards stand outside watching without intervening. The walls and mirrors become damaged during the intense struggle. Blood spreads across the floor as both sides continue fighting fiercely. Back in the dormitory, players hear an announcement that several participants have been eliminated, and the prize money increases to 380 million won. The remaining players conduct a careful head count after returning from the bathroom. Team X now has 48 players while Team O has 47, giving X team a slight advantage for the upcoming vote. Both sides accuse each other of starting the fight, with O team claiming X team members hurt their allies first, while X team correctly states that O team initiated the violence by pressuring players to change their votes. The tension between the groups grows even stronger. Meanwhile, on the search boat, the drone operator discovers the captain suspiciously tampering with their surveillance equipment in the storage room. The captain, revealing his true nature, quickly eliminates the operator and pushes them overboard to hide the evidence. When Woo-sok later encounters the captain on deck, the captain lies about simply watching the sea, successfully concealing his dangerous intentions. This revelation proves the captain is working against the investigation team. Gi-hun develops a strategic plan to rebel against the frontman and his guards. He quietly tells trusted X team members to hide under their beds during the expected night attack from O team. As night approaches, O team members secretly prepare makeshift weapons to eliminate X team members under cover of darkness, unaware they are walking into Gi-hun's trap. He deliberately chooses not to warn all X team members to maintain the element of surprise. When the lights finally go out, O team begins their careful assault through the darkness. Min-soo attempts to hurt Nam-gyu by throwing glass from a top bunk but misses the target. The guards enter to control the chaotic situation, exactly what Gi-hun was waiting for. His hidden group successfully ambushes the guards, taking their weapons and equipment. A fierce shootout begins in the dormitory, forcing guards to retreat temporarily for reinforcements. The rebels quickly shoot out all surveillance cameras and gather as much ammunition as possible. Young-bae convincingly persuades more scared players to join their liberation cause by presenting it as their last chance to escape before O-team takes control. Taking a guard hostage for protection, they carefully leave the dorms heading for the control room. During an intense hallway battle with guards, their hostage is eliminated. Gi-hun manages to obtain a security mask from a guard and advances while others provide covering fire. Gi-hun and Young-bae successfully reach the restricted management area. They continue fighting their way up a massive staircase while square masked guards pour out of the control room to stop them. Dae-ho, a former Marine, volunteers to return to the dormitory to find more ammunition as their supplies run dangerously low. However, upon returning to the chaotic scene, he becomes paralyzed with what appears to be PTSD, changes his mind about the rebellion, and abandons the group. Yoon-ju becomes suspicious of the situation and also returns to the dorms. In-ho finally reveals his true betrayal, attacking the unsuspecting rebels from behind. He lies to Gi-hun over the radio about the others being eliminated, then secretly switches channels to coordinate with the guards. He instructs them to wrap it up. Armed soldiers storm the dorms, where Yoon-ju stays carefully hidden following Young-sik's mother's wise advice. The rebels who surrender are still eliminated without mercy, except for Gi-hun who manages to survive. The episode concludes dramatically with the frontman confronting Gi-hun and ending Young-bae's life right before his eyes as Gi-hun watches helplessly. A mid-credits scene reveals the remaining players facing a new mysterious game similar to Red Light, Green Light, but this time featuring two dolls instead of the original one, suggesting even greater challenges ahead for the survivors.